and Sean Marks came in, both of them preached small ball. Or no, sorry, positionless basketball.
Yeah.
That is what they've been preaching. And that's all cool, but you have to know your matchups. And when you don't, and when you continuously are stubborn trying to do this positionless basketball, I believe you said, I saw you tweet that Chandler was running the 5 at one point.
Yep.
It's like that is not going to work against the bigger teams in the league, and especially in the East, because you have monsters in Philly, you've got Milwaukee, Bam Adebayo is killing it right now in Miami. You can't tell me, and we've already waxed poetic about how Jared Allen has to have more aggression and show more toughness in the paint, and he's somewhat coming along, but I don't see he's coming along to a point where he'll be an intimidating force for against bigs in the league. I don't see that happening right now.
Sean,
I ramble on.
Nah, man, I look, I appreciate you, but I wanna comment on something you said, and then I wanna focus you in on another piece of that, to elaborate on it. Last year, when D'Lo came in, I feel like, and obviously hindsight is 20/20, but if we really put last season on a microscope, it was almost like they were starting D'Lo, but Atkinson still didn't really like him. It wasn't until it was as if they were like, Jared Dudley's hurt, or we're gonna take Jared Dudley out. We're gonna run this kid Rodion's into the lineup. It was almost like they said they threw the white towel in and was like, they waved the white flag and was like, we're just gonna tank and get our draft pick. And when he stopped coaching, it felt like that's when they took off. Like when he got out of D'Angelo Russell's way, they give him credit for D'Angelo Russell, but I never felt like he trusted him. I never felt like he appreciated what D'Angelo did, because D'Angelo played outside of his system. He would take those mid-range jumpers. It was almost as if no matter what D'Angelo did, it was like it didn't fit what he wanted to do, really.
Because it wasn't a part of Kenny's system. And this is what I was saying, how D'Lo had to really as time went on, and we snapped out of that 8-game skid last year, and things started to come together and gel. Kenny had to adapt to D'Lo more so than D'Angelo having to adapt to Kenny's system. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. Early on, at this time last year, anytime D'Angelo made just a little bit of a mistake, he's on the bench. But you got Pinson out there this season doing God knows what, and he's still out there doing whatever. So that actually gives you an insight. That gives you some kind of context to what you're saying about Kenny not fully trusting D'Angelo Russell.
Right.
And I guess it was at one point, Kenny was like, well, F it, we're already losing 8 games in a row. We're already 8-18. Might as well just, throw everybody out on the floor and see what works. And it was actually working, and he couldn't really mess up the formula, and that's why we ended up 42-40. That's what I'm saying. It was in spite of Kenny Atkinson. It wasn't because of Kenny Atkinson.
That's right.
And when I see all these pundits running around saying, "Oh, Kenny did such a great job," he did an okay job. I'm not going to say that he was a horrible. No, I'm not going to say that. He did an okay job. He's a development coach,
right?
And he was brought in 4 years ago because this roster was depleted. It had no draft picks. It had barely G League players. I mean, we brought in Jeremy Lin, for God's sakes, trying to reinvigorate Lin Sanity because Kenny was the reason that Lin Sanity worked with the Knicks.
Right. So,
I get it. He's a development coach. I don't see development coaches unless you're, I was about to say Spoelstra, but Spoelstra is a different beast. So, you're not really a development coach to lead superstars, and that's where I'm coming in right now. And this is what I'm saying. If this is what we're seeing right now out of Kenny and this team, and they're 2 games below 500, and he's still trotting out or tinkering with lineups or whatever. We're already a quarter in, more than a quarter in. Like, All-Star is next month.
That's right.
There's a lot of teams that are set in their positions. Now, I get it. I mean, and their lineups and their rotations. Now, I get it. We are depleted, so there's a lot of things that need to work. But even with the players that he knows works with this system, I'm still dumbfounded how Karuk is finally getting out of the doghouse, because I don't even know why he wasn't really implemented from the beginning. I get it. He was having his off-the-court issues, so I don't know how much that had a lot to do with it. But when there was times when we needed some kind of size or we needed some kind of spark off the bench, and he's just sitting there, I'm just like, what the do something, man. Help me out. Help me understand.
So Kenny, I with Karuk's, I feel like Kenny takes the confidence out of players. For instance, last year Kenny would have played Jared Dudley the entire year starting at 4 if it worked. He would have never moved off of that, because if you look at his history with the Nets, the first year he gets there, he brings in Randy Ford. Randy Ford was terrible, and there was no reason to play Randy Ford because he wasn't gonna. You didn't need to win. That whole team was just trying to figure out how to make these young players better, and he was playing Foy over Kyries, and I never understood that. Then the year after that, we've got Jared Dudley in the fold, and Damari Carroll. He seems to be like one of those old traditional cliche coaches that loves their veterans, and now we see it with Garrett Temple. I feel like an aggressive coach who understands his team might have said, "All right, I'm going to put Kyries on a minutes. I'm going to put Kyries on a minutes restriction for this game." But I'm putting him in his starting spot because I don't know what I'm wasting my time with Garrett Temple. He so loves veterans that he kept Garrett Temple in, and he plays these players that he believes in to the death, no matter what they show him to the opposite of them being any good. Do you see that as well?
It's not so much the veteran part. I agree with you to that. I agree with you, but it's not so much the veteran part as much as it is people that he feels fits his system. Now, if they happen to be veterans because they've been in the league, they have high IQ, yada, 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 so be it. But I just feel it has more to do with, these are the guys that work within the system that I have implemented for the last 4 years. Like, I'm just going to run with those, and I'm just going to play it out. Where, the fan eye test, and I get it. This is when we have these debates and discussions, it's a battle between fans and, the people who are actually the professionals and on the court. So I kind of like try not to go too hard because, they're there for a reason and I'm here for a reason. But even the eye test would tell you, Jared Dudley at the 4, my man. Come on, man. Do you see Frank Vogel pulling that nonsense in L.A.?
Nah.
Come on. Let's be real.
Nah.
That's what I'm saying. So I think it has more to do with it's one part they're veterans because he does love veteran guys. He is an old school, hard nosed from Long Island coach.
Yeah.
And the other part is that they fit the system where the young people that you and I would say like, yo, let's put them in. They probably haven't worked out the system yet or whatever, blah, blah, whatever the kinks are. But I will say this about Garrett Temple, though. And I know you've been massively hard on homeboy. He's had some flashes. But he wasn't brought in to be a starter. You know that. You know he wasn't brought in to be a starter. He was brought in to be a role coach. Be a role player.
Well, let me. I'm
sorry to cut you off, but this is another reason why I can't go too hard in the paint. Even though I'm frustrated, just like you are, most of the Nets nations are frustrated. We're on a 4-game losing streak with 2 games below 500. We've had all these expectations to at least go 5th in the league, in the East, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, barring some major, coming to Jesus moment. But most of these players have really been brought in as role players for next season. It's just that because this season is such a stopgap and a wash because KD is on the bench, we're like really going in on him because like, why are you here? Why are you going to be here next season? That's where you and I differ. You really are hard on Temple, who I feel has flashes, but flashes for a bench player, not a starter. And actually, I'm agreeing with you when it comes to Prince. Prince has just been trash.
So let me before we get past that, I want to address that, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at realistic championship teams real quick. I don't want to just because I will keep it real with you. I think Garrett Temple is fine as a 15th or 16th man, because you need. No, I'm being for real. You need men of character on your team. Garrett Temple is a man of character.
Jared Dudley.
And see, Jared Dudley is a politician. That's different. Like he plays psychological games. He's like telling fans, "I'm gonna give y'all free tickets" and all this other stuff. Like he knows how to like ingratiate himself into situations and then take credit for things that has nothing to do with him. Like his body was falling apart. He's not really about his craft, because if you play in the NBA and you have all these things at your resources, there's no at your fingertips. There's no reason why you should look like how he did. And he was a very, very smart player, very crafty, but he still cost $10 million. And I think that Sean Marks could have filled that hole creatively better than Jared Dudley. He could have got like a Christian Wood. He could have gotten some of the players that ended up on the Toronto's and the Bucks bench. When you're building a championship team, Garrett Temples are fine, but you didn't see any Garrett Temple types on the Toronto Raptors last year. Like their version of the like the Bucks version of Garrett Temple is damn, I'm drawing a blank. George Hill is it like there's a far cry difference between George Hill.
Oh yeah, that's a mass. Yeah,
and Garrett
disparity.
You understand what I'm saying? So like I'm watching.
Temple really was brought in for defense, man. Like and the occasional three shot. We could both agree our defense is trash.
Yeah, I mean I won't even. But he also was kind of bought to become a wing defender, and he's not that either. He's a perimeter defender. Like, Kyries getting hurt got him back in his own position. They were throwing
in his element. Right,
exactly. They were throwing Garrett Temple out to guard 6'10" power forwards, and I would watch that with frustration because I'm like, it's never gonna work. He's not that athletic. He's game. Don't get me wrong. It's like I hate talking bad about these players. Even Taurean Prince, who's blocked me, and that's player that's ever blocked me wasn't on the team the next year. And I've never added him. I've never said anything personal about him. I don't believe in that. I think that's some sucker shit when people be on Twitter making it very personal. My problem with Garrett Temple is not really. My problem with Taurean Prince is not really Taurean Prince. It's the role that they're asking him to play. They're saying, because in their mind, the Nets organization is saying, let's play positionless basketball. But in order to play positionless basketball, you have to have players that could play any role. He is strictly a perimeter jump shooter. He cannot finish at the basket. And if you can't, teams, this is the NBA. The NBA has, analytics guys behind the scene that it's running it like it's NASA. And they basically know now you can sell out to guard him on the perimeter because he's going to trip over his own feet going to the basket. So now
he's definitely Alan Crabbe.
Yeah. It's amazing that we have the exact same player again after having Alan Crabbe. And that just brings me to my next question for you. We're putting a lot of this on Kenny Atkinson, but do you believe that Sean Marks is going out and getting the players that Kenny Atkinson wants, or is this a part of what Sean Marks wants to do?
I honestly believe, and they said it as such in so many damn press conferences, that it's a collaborative effort. I truly do believe that any move that Marks tries to make, he consults with his coach. I don't find that many